Watercooler, watercooler, watercooler.
Bam, bam, now.
Well, you already know I am not Chris Loxamana because there were no mouth licks. And I mean, I feel the disappointment from the masses. They haven't even heard this yet, but I can feel their disappointment as they do.
I don't know. Half of them might be cheering. We still haven't gotten to the bottom of that.
I don't know, man.
50,
I mean,
50.
if it's 50-50, then the 50 who don't like it are a silent minority that are led by the army being led by my wife. But I'm Gary Smith. I am in for Chris Loxamana, who got stuck at work and could not join us tonight. And with me, as sometimes, are my former Corolla Digital buds. With me today in Long Beach, California, not like me, Kalen B.
What's going on?
Not much. What's up, Kalen?
Nothing really. Yeah, just chilling.
Fantastic. Well, since the person who
just
leads
hanging
the
out.
show and really carries the load is gone, I'm glad to hear that you have absolutely nothing going on. This is heartening.
Yeah.
We're off to a good start. Also with me today in Nohoka, also known as North Hollywood, California, it's Mike Dawson.
Nohoka, California is the land of the free and the home of the tame.
Okay, as someone who has spent some time in Nohoka, I don't think freedom
Not
is like
tame.
the top 5 on the list, nor is tame.
Neither
but,
is tameness,
No.
but it's
But
all right.
whatever.
It's,
You go
it's
with it,
gritty
bro.
out here. It's
That's your
always
s-
gritty out here.
That's your story, and you're sticking to it. And finally, with us today, all the way in the true land of the free, Austin, Texas, it's our own Matt Fondelier.
Hey, brother.
Hey, dude, how are you?
Dude, so bland. Just,
Just
nothing
really
to
nothing
contribute.
going on?
Yeah,
Hanging
just
out.
nothing.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, guys,
I'm glad you're
considering-
here. I'm glad you're hosting because Chris told us about 20 minutes ago that he wasn't going to be able to do the show. And I was like, oh, please Christ, let Gary be here. Please Christ, let Gary be here.
Well, yeah, I mean,
It
the
was more
fact
like
that I'm
10 minutes ago.
the fact that I'm working, 80, 90 hours a week at the moment doesn't really bode well for me steering the ship here, but we're going to give it a shot and see what comes out the other end. So, we talked beforehand and everyone affirmed what you've already heard on the show, that they have absolutely nothing to talk about. So I guess we're going to have to start with my boring ass story.
You said you had a TOD.
It's not so much a TOD, it's more a story. But it would be a lot better if our own Chris Loxamana was here because he's a central figure in this story. So earlier this week, I found about 3 hours of my life where I was not working. I probably should have been, but I decided not to because I was invited to Disneyland, and more specifically, Disney's California Adventure.
Oh, my God.
And I was told, all right, buckle up. You can come to Disney's California Adventure. You're allowed to go enter the park at 6. And it is free.
But you got to blow Mickey.
No.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yep.
dude. That's the
Worth
rule.
it.
Caveat,
That's
dude.
the caveat.
that's wow, dude.
Well, that was a very creepy sound that you just made, Matt. Thank you very
Very
much.
good,
for shitting
dude.
all
I
over
think
the
Mickey's
story I'm
just
about to tell
finished.
about taking my son to Disneyland.
Jesus.
I was
I'm
told
just bringing content. Come on.
I was told you show
Wow.
up at 6 o'clock, and if you stay long enough at 9 o'clock, they're kicking everyone out of the park except for you and a select few who will have a special wristband, and you can stay in the park virtually empty from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m.
But you
Ooh.
got to blow Goofy. It's really a twofer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, who?
Wow. This is not.
Yep.
Jesus Christ. How deep is your list of characters?
Those are the
Matt?
two.
As
Those
a
are the
Disney
two.
adult, I feel like you probably got an endless list.
I don't
Anything
want
other than that.
Yeah, there's
anything
not
other than
much.
that. I mean, you could probably do horrible things to Stitch with a fork, but I don't know if you even want to go there. I think you've covered it.
I mean, is everyone going to really just
Maybe
skip the
you
Woody
could
joke?
finger Mr. Toad.
Oh, no.
Guys,
That
the Woody
might
joke-
be.
the Woody joke is sitting right there.
Might be.
All right, so I said yes, magical creature. I will accept your offer of free Disneyland tickets. And the magical creature, by the way, is I probably shouldn't have said creature 3 times now, but our good friend Gina Grad. So the Woody Show was doing a takeover, and apparently terrestrial radio shows still exist and are big enough in some sphere where they can command taking over Disneyland. And we got this text a few days in advance. It was, it's a school night. It's a Monday night, so it was kind of random. But it was like my wife and I kind of looked at each other and we were like, "Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a tough Tuesday, but let's do this. Like, that sounds awesome. You know, it's Disneyland, for those who are outside the area, is not cheap. So 3 tickets to Disneyland gratis is it's quite a gift. And so we accepted and we said thank you very much. And then a couple days later, she sent us an email and said, here's your free parking. And I went, holy shit, free. I mean, like, it was just it was coming up aces for the Smith family, no matter which way you turned. And then a couple days later, as we approached, she tells me Chris Loxamana is going to join as well. And I was just dumbfounded. I mean, that was so exciting. So we got to the park and we park, and it's a whole rigmarole because we brought the stroller because it was going to be late at night and we knew my son might get tired. So
Oh, that was for your son.
Yeah, it was for my son.
Okay.
I mean, well, look, it was also in case I had one too many Celsius, because I don't know, I'm sure you're aware, Matt, but now it is quite easy to find some alcohol at the Disneyland parks, whereas not too long ago it was virtually impossible. You had to know someone who knew someone, and you could only get it in a very specific place, and you couldn't walk around with it. And now it is just game on. You fire up that app, and you got.
I think Walt in the early days, like, that was one of his things, was that there would not be alcohol sold on the property to kind of keep its purity. But then,
you say the early days. You say the
over.
early days, but that endured into like the 2015s. I mean, that was it lasted a long time.
Like, just California
where do they
Adventure.
sell?
Wasn't that a thing?
No, it's
everything.
It's opened up in the regular park as well, slowly but surely. But in California Adventure, it used to be like there were 2 places. Now it's like, you can't go 60 yards without a stand that's willing to sell you a Happy Dad or a High
They make
Noon.
so much money on
They make
alcohol.
so much
there.
money, Dawson. It is
So much
absolutely
money.
bananas. I mean, the first thing we got when we got there was 2. They were. I wish I had it and the name of it because it would delight Matt. But basically, they were 2 espresso martinis from a place called Pim's Testing Lab. It was in the Adventureland, and it was themed after the Pimco from the Ant-Man movies, and. We got 2 espresso martinis, and that was $44 right there. Before you even touch a sip. So yes, Dawson, they make a ton of money off of alcohol as well as off of food, I'm sure, because that stuff's not cheap either. But we got there and we promptly met up with the Loxamanas, which was delightful. I have not seen a friend that I don't work with in quite a while, and to see someone like Chris in the flesh and have him have his wife there and me have my wife there, and they left little Benny at home because rightfully so, he's much younger and it was very late and he would have just been sleeping. He wouldn't have really enjoyed it. So they came solo and we're out for a date night, but we had my son and we all met up and we got a bite to eat and drink at the PIM lab. And,
did you have your son take a nap earlier in the day? How did he handle this 9 p.m. start?
I got it. 6 p.m. start. Okay.
Yeah.
6 p.m. start. I did advise that a nap in the day might be a good idea. I did go to work that day, so I don't exactly know what happened. I'm working to a degree now where it is not uncommon for me to go 6 or 7 hours not texting my wife unless I have something specific I need to ask her. And it's pretty hard on me because I would like to be able to, but I'm going so fast that like I don't have the 45 seconds for a little how's your day going, often. So I don't know if he took a nap. I had advised that he should, but whether or not that happened, I don't really know. But we met up with the Loxamanas. We sat and we had our drinks and we had some food. We got one of these comically oversized pretzels. I didn't take a picture of it. I wish I did now so I could show you. But I mean, this pretzel was, the size of my head. Chris and Jenny got a spicy chicken sandwich, and we sat for a while. And then we decided, okay, let's go find a ride. So we kind of cruised around the park. Certain things were closed, as they always are at Disneyland. Not everything's open 100% of the time. And we found a ride. It was an Inside Out themed ride, and it was basically like, you sit. If you think of kind of one of these rides that has like 12 hot air balloons and you sit in the box at the bottom and then it lifts you up and it spins you around and it's playing music. It's a kid's ride. My son's young, so that was sort of what was on the menu for us. So we found that, and Chris and Jenny decided to go find another cocktail, and we met up. We were going to meet up with them after. So we did that ride, and it was really fun. I mean, it was.
Sounds like Chris didn't want to go on that ride.
Chris,
I don't know if he was too scared.
I think there may have been a height requirement. I'm not, I'm not one to say, and that's not nice if he's not here to defend himself. But nonetheless, so they went on. We did that ride, and then we came out, and they were waiting for us pretty close by. We texted them as we finished, and then we met back up with them. We reached out to Gina, and she advised that she was still working, and whatever. So at this point, we've done the one ride. we try to reach out to Gina to see if we can go find her and thank her for these lovely tickets and just, you know, get a chance to see our friend. And we look down and it's already 9 o'clock because, you know, we got there, you know, around 6. But by the time you go through security and you get the will call and you go through, you get in, you get your wristband, you whatever, you find the Loxamanas. I mean, you know, we'd eaten up a lot of time. So
I'm going to blame this on your son because this is sounding like some real amateur shit here, pal. You're at the park for free for 3 hours, and all you've done is go on the fucking Inside Out ride, which is probably the lamest ride at California Adventure.
Wow, well, throwing the shade, bro.
Isn't that typical Disneyland though? I mean, don't you average
if you're an amateur
one ride every 3 hours? That's why I fucking hate
Fast
that place.
pass. You got to bounce around. You got to plan it out.
Oh,
First
yeah,
of
how
all,
much do those
Matt,
cost?
This shows how long you've not lived in California. The Fast Pass
They
is
don't
no
have
longer
fast
a
pass
thing.
anymore. No.
The Fast Pass, the Fast Pass is now a paid option, which is
There
called
you
like
go.
Magic Genie or something. That's not right. That is wrong, but it's something Genie, and you have to.
You got to
pay
blow
for
the
it.
genie. I get it.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
Yeah, you got to rub that.
And he
rub
does
that
all the weird
lamp.
voices. It's
Rub
not
that
a good
rub it
time.
out.
Just
You gotta
so.
rub the lamp.
So
I do have to say, like number one of the things that I miss is my family and friends. Number two
I think
is my
family falls way
proximity.
above friends there, fella, and I think you're well on the record with that one.
All right. Well, so we're
let's-
at the top
let's
three.
not
So
throw
one is
those
family.
together as 1A and
One is
1B.
family. 2 is friends. 3 is Disney. My proximity to any Disney park has been hampered by moving to the middle of the country. It's devastating. I'm living vicariously through you.
Well, whatever. Okay, so back to your point. Yeah.
And totally unsatisfied vicariously, it
So
sounds
far,
like.
Well,
Jesus.
look, maybe
You didn't eat. Yeah, you got the pretzel. That's good. That's a good
maybe
call.
this is amateur hour, but I would say that getting the drinks is a priority, and you can't take those on the ride, so that's going to slow you down a little bit. And I
You
will
gotta
also
chug
say,
it.
Chug in
I
the
will-
line, dude.
I will also say that what you guys are not considering is that at the magical hour of 9 o'clock, about 85% of this park is going to empty. So why would I go stand in line for rides now when at 9 o'clock the world is my oyster and I can just start knocking out rides left, right, and center? So this
And
is
oysters are
strategic.
pretty good.
Yeah, so,
Tell
so
me
this,
about it.
this is strategic.
Yeah.
So, you know, we wanted to get on a ride, you know, before my son got too tired. So that was why we went and did that one ride. And we picked that ride because that ride, being a fairly lame ride and, you know, tailored to kids of a very specific age, had a very short line. So we didn't have to stand in a ton of line. You know, it was 15 minutes as opposed to if we had gone and done the Spider-Man ride, you're talking more like 60 minutes. And, you know,
These are Spider-Man rides, Inside Out rides. It's been a while since I've been to Disneyland. I didn't even know they had an Ant-Man themed area. Like,
there's a
geez,
whole
really
Avengers-
upgraded since I've last been there. Yeah.
yeah, there's a whole Avengers campus. The Tower of Terror is no longer Tower of Terror. Now it's a Guardians of the Galaxy themed. It's the same ride, but they've reskinned it. and
That
now
one I
it's
knew.
Guardian-
That one I
Yeah.
knew. These other rides I haven't even heard of. These places.
Absolutely. So yes, it's changed a lot, and I don't think that I've been to a Disney park since before COVID. I believe I was there about 2 weeks before COVID at California Adventure as well, and I have not been back. That's not true. That's not true. I have been back. Whatever. I haven't been to California Adventure since before COVID. Anyway, so the park starts emptying out, and now is when you are just the king of all kings because they have put up these people, and basically it's like to enter anything that is not a main thoroughfare headed out, you have to hold up your wristband, and only those who can show their wristband are allowed into the sections that are not being funneled out. So
Sounds very Avengers. Of
it was.
you.
It was. There was a funny moment early on before we got to the Inside Out ride where Joya, we were trying to go to a different ride and they were advising that it was closed. And Joya held up her wristband and went, "How about now?" And they were like, "No, still closed." I was standing with Chris probably 20 or 30 yards behind them, but I got to witness this thing and I knew exactly what was happening, and it was hilarious. I made fun of her for that quite a bit later. Yeah, apparently you give Joya a wristband and like a tiny touch of power and she turns into a freaking tyrant. But anyways,
Who doesn't?
Exactly. So we're sort of mingling through the park with the throngs of people who are being forced towards the exit, and we kind of come to a place where it's like, all right, let's go back into Avengers Land, and we do, and they're like, no, 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 and we hold up our wristbands and they go, yes, 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 and we go, all right. So we walk through.
All right.
Exactly. So we walk through these people, and then all of a sudden, Chris and I realize it is now 9:05. Okay, so anyone who is in the park and not on a ride or in a line is being funneled out, but the takeover has officially started. So there's still a lot of people from normal tickets that are in the park, but the Woody takeover has now started. And we're walking down this road into the Avengers campus, and all of a sudden, Chris and I look up, and we realize that One More Time by Blink-182 is playing. And we're like, oh shit, right, because the Woody Show has taken this over. So they're going to play Woody Show music throughout the rest of this time here. So it was just like, it was so cool. Like, we kind of looked at each other like, look at us, like freaking out on a Monday night at Disneyland, fucking with our wives, and they're playing the kind of music that we like. This is fucking awesome. And so we walked around a little bit more, and finally we made our way to Spider-Man because that was kind of the hot ticket that everyone wanted to go on. By everyone I mean me and Chris. And we got there, and they were, they still had the way Disneyland works is when they do this thing, when the parks close, anyone who is in line, you are allowed to stay in that line and ride that ride before you are kicked out. Like that, it's their policy, kind of, no matter what. It's got nothing to do with this takeover. Just when the park closes, if you are in a line for a ride, they allow you to ride out the end of that line, ride the ride, and then you have to go. So we got to Spider-Man. The guy basically said, like, a bunch of people jumped in line right before they closed, knowing that this was going to happen. So the line is still 45 minutes. Yeah, it's a great move. The line's still 45 minutes right now, but if you come back in 45 minutes, the line is going to be, more like 10 or 15. Even, if everyone here decides they want to go on this ride at the same time. So we said, okay, no problem. We won't do that. We'll go. So we were thinking, like, what's less popular? And the decision was Soarin' over California. That's been here forever. That's a good one. No one's rushing to Soarin' over California like as their last ride. I don't think. I mean, maybe some people are, but that one's been around. I mean, I've been on it, so that means it's been here 20 years. Let's do Soarin' over California. So, okay, we break out the map. We have the guy tell us, and we make our way through the park, and we get to Soarin' California. Go to Soarin' California. We get all the way there. We're there. Where can we park the stroller? Right there. We look down. My son has decided he's done. He is bawling his eyes out, and he wants to go home. And we try everything. I mean, what can we buy you? What can we feed you? What can we, what? Like, basically, Joya sort of broke down all barriers and was like, "I will buy you whatever you want. What can I buy you to let us stay here another 45 minutes?" And he was like, "Nothing." And it was just like, it was one of those things, Kaylin. I mean, I'm sure as a parent of kids that age.
Oh, hitting 9 o'clock with a 5-year-old.
Sure.
Yeah, that's.
Yes, but
I was surprised you thought it was ever going to happen in the first.
No,
place.
I knew it wasn't. I knew that it was. I knew that this would happen at some point. I was hopeful that it would be like 10:05 as opposed to 9:17 when the park is just like, you literally can see the park emptying. Like, it is readily apparent, like, right now is when the getting gets good. And
hey Matt, how's that vicarious Disneyland living going, man? Getting better by the minute, huh?
Yeah, this is so sad. I'm sorry, pal.
No, it's okay. So Kaylin, it's just like, at some point, like, your kid gets to a level of meltdown where it's just like, there is no coming back. Like, nothing.
The only option.
That's when you just leave them behind, right? Like, there's a lost and found. You catch up later. Spider-Man ride. It's a Spider-Man ride.
You could hope that he just sleeps. That's, I think, maybe.
You could hope.
Even if he does, then Joy is not getting on that Spider-Man ride with him.
I mean, you blew Mickey earlier. Can't Mickey watch him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can hope, but he was not. It wasn't. If you let me cry long enough, I'm going to fall asleep. Like, he was emotionally done, and he was not going to fall asleep until we got him into a car. And I kind of walked up to Chris, who was standing with Jenny kind of a few feet away. They had sort of backed off to let us parent, and I kind of gave him a hug and was like, "We're done." And he looked at me like I had just kicked his puppy. He was like, "What? What do you mean?" And I was like, "Dude, like, I know you're not quite there yet, but like, when you have a 5-year-old, like, it gets to a point where it's just like, nope, there's no point in fighting this. Like, we just have to fucking capitulate to what he wants and just fucking move on with our lives. Like, this is not going to be fun for us otherwise. Like, this will be a nightmare for everyone." I mean, he is violently crying and shaking, and so
looking back, do you regret not buying him an espresso martini?
I mean,
because if you had gotten a third one, this would have not have been a problem.
Looking back, what I regret is not getting 4 when I got 2. But nonetheless, it was a great night. We snapped this photo with Chris and Jenny.
Oh, look at that!
This is us standing in front of Soarin' over California, and we asked a nice person who was walking by. This was after we had told them we were leaving, so. this is the start of their night. You can see how happy they look. I hope you can't see how frustrated and sad.
No, you guys look great. That's an amazing picture.
You are gritting your teeth.
I am trying. Yeah,
What the fuck?
it's like smile. But I hope they went on to go on that ride and many more. I haven't really had a chance to speak to Chris since that happened. But
bro, he's been texting me for days about the Spider-Man ride and just how. Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah.
What?
The real kick in the dick was because they had just because they had just forced everyone out of the park. The line for the tram was, bananas.
Massive. It's the worst time to leave.
15 minutes later, it would have been vastly different. But no, we were kicked out right into the throngs of losers that I had been judging all night, waiting for them to be kicked out so that we could have the park to ourselves.
How's that bracelet power going now?
I mean, there was no power. Once the 5-year-old decides that it's over, that power dies.
When did he stop the meltdown?
As soon as they walked out of the gates.
He slowed once we were out of the gates. I would say that it fully stopped when he passed out in the car on the way home.
Okay. Is there a world where instead of heading for the gates, you could have headed for a different ride and just been like, yeah, this is the way, pal. This is the way. Here we are, online for the Spider-Man ride. This is the way out.
Have you not been here for Joe Corner? He's pretty smart.
That's true. He knows what's up.
Yeah. So yeah, but it was a fun night. Unfortunately, never got to see Gina. Never got to really enjoy it thoroughly. But it was super fun to spend the time that we did with the Loxamanas. That was worth it, honestly. So yeah, it was not ideal, but I hope they continued to have a lot of fun after we left. And I was glad that we went. We really did have a good time while we were there. It just it all went bad in kind of the worst way. So so thank you, Gina Grad, for what you did trying to help us have fun. It did not necessarily go our way, but I think anyone who has kids that age sort of knows the way that goes sometimes. It's just not always
stuff some Benadryl in a turkey leg and just force feed the kid.
Yeah, I got to say that it's just all good ideas from the non-parents on this podcast. They're just fantastic.
I should write a book. I got so many good ideas.
I mean, Matt's telling me to abandon the child, and
that's one.
Abandon my child.
It's just telling you to drug him.
Yeah, no, I mean, all illegal ideas, but I appreciate that you guys are thinking. You're going for it. And
they have children's Benadryl.
Yeah, they do. I think that overdosing kids with the opportunity or the goal of getting them to sleep is probably frowned upon.
Kids are resilient. They're like dogs. They bounce back.
Yeah.
Doss, you and I should host a parenting show.
I think we should, dude.
Yeah.
I think we should.
I know a producer of one. Maybe you could guest on there before you.
I think
test out the format.
Would be the best, dude. It'd be the best. It'd be the best parenting podcast of all time. And that's what we should call it, the best parenting podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, anyone else got anything they want to get into before we potentially get into some comments here?
I can quickly just tell you about feeling a little bad over Easter.
All right, let's hear it.
So we had the family, Amy's aunt does a big thing, Jenny's mom. So all the family was over at Jenny's mom's house, and every year they do a big Easter egg hunt for the kids, and each kid gets a different color egg. And so it was obviously my job to hide the eggs for the kids, and I might have overestimated their finding skills a little bit. And, I think I had a little too fun with the hiding of the Easter eggs and hid them a little too hard for them, and then felt bad afterwards. And I had to guide them towards each one. And I went all right, someone else has got to do this job next year because
nice.
Yeah.
So I want to hear, if you will, where you hid them. But before you do, I have to say we had the opposite experience, which is that my next door neighbors had their family over, and they have a huge deck that we could kind of see, on their deck when we're outside as well. And I watched this guy hide all these eggs. And by hide, I just mean place them in the most obvious places. And my wife and I were like, well, these kids must be, 4 or 5 years old. This is going to be a task. Nope. They were middle schooler, high schooler kids. They cleared the field of eggs, and it had to have been 8 seconds. So I love hearing that yours was just the complete opposite.
It was. I mean, yeah, I was trying to go for a little challenge, but also it was kind of behind a lot of plants, behind a lot of areas. I didn't get too crazy with it, but there were kids ages range 1 to like 13 there. So there was different levels depending on the different kid. And yeah, it was a lot of just kind of like in the plants, kind of behind the area. And boy, they had 10 eggs each, and I think they found about 2 before I had to people had to start helping them out with stuff. They
and
were
did you
getting
guys have to be like,
frustrated.
oh yeah, the Easter Bunny told us that this is where they were? Like,
Blame
did
the
you
Easter
shatter
Bunny,
dreams?
Yeah, so I felt a little bad about that one.
Wow.
Yeah, that's okay.
Nice.
We've all
But,
been
I
there.
had fun hiding them, so there's a little plus there.
Well, yeah,
Nice.
that's the problem when the kids are that young. If you're having fun, it's too hard for the.
And then there was like some other parents that got a couple hiding spots that I was a little jealous of. One put them like right in the fountain, right? It was bubbling around
Perfect
the water. I was like,
spot.
that's a great spot. I was like, why didn't I think
Yeah.
of that? I should have thought of that one. I was getting, I was getting one upped by some of the other parents too. That wasn't a good feeling.
I did want to say regarding Disneyland, going back just a second, it's not a very large club of radio broadcasting DJs who broadcast from Disneyland. I got the chance to do it when I was in San Diego for the reopening of Space Mountain. And I had to take the ride on the air too. And it was super fun. But
You were
the
broadcasting
best part-
live from the
I
ride?
broadcast live from the ride
Wow.
and did my whole 7 to midnight shift from Disneyland. And it's not a very big club. And I know Gina was in when she was working with Mark from
Mark
I forget that state, 103 The Sound.
Yeah,
Yeah. 100.3, I think it was. I don't remember.
I think it was.
So she had already done it, but it's such a cool thing when you get to be the DJ. I'm happy for Gina. That's
Yeah.
good. She's at least a 2-timer now.
No, it was really cool, and I was happy for her as well. It was a little hard to believe that in 2025 there's still terrestrial radio shows out there that are commanding that kind of sway. But damn, there were, and the hardcore fans
Promising.
were out. I mean, they all had their Woody show swag. I mean, there was a ton of people, rocking that stuff, and it was really, really heartening to see. So, yeah,
Nice.
Congratulations to Gina. That was super fun and super, super cool. All right, you guys want to do some comments?
Let's do it.
Yep.
All right, let's go.
Now it's time for listener comments.
All right, so this is the part of the show where Chris does his job, but since all right, so Matt Fondelier posted a picture in the Facebook group, and it's a picture of Sam Altman, and it says on top of it, Sam Altman, founder and creator of OpenAI, and it says saying please and thank you to ChatGPT is costing millions. Sam Altman says, and Matt's caption is sorry not sorry.
That's right. There's a long history of me being polite to, the seatbelt feeder in your car and, Siri. I've always been a big fan of thanking the AI. And I will say that in the occasions that I've used Chat GPT, I do always start it with please. I'll say thank you. And so I found it quite amusing to think that is costing millions and millions of dollars.
You're
and,
a liability.
Sorry, but not sorry. Like, I'm going to keep fucking saying please and thank you to our AI overlords. And I will stand by that.
Your misplaced morals are costing money.
Well, here's the thing.
It's not his money.
Let's first of all establish that the little motor that pushed the seatbelt out in my car is not AI. So you thinking that is fucking
Don't
insanity.
listen. Don't listen. You're just as good as all of the other AI bots.
However,
Do you think your toaster when you put in a fucking piece of a bagel in the morning?
That's a good question.
All right, where do you draw the line, Matt? Where do you draw the line?
I like how you
At
adjusted the bagel
toasters.
at the
All right,
last
as a
second
BSG
there.
fan, I think you'd appreciate
I know,
that.
it's going to go with toast, but
Reminds me of
I
that
know.
one stupid Black Mirror episode.
I liked it.
yeah.
Did you watch all of Black Mirror yet?
I've
Matt?
only watched the first one of the newest season.
Okay, there's something. Yeah, dude.
I can take my headphones
that
off.
one was lame. Anyway, no, it's
But
it's all
only a
right.
good one.
You'll get to it. You'll get
All
to
right.
it.
Yeah,
Right.
but Matt, here's the thing. They have done studies, and you get like between 9 and 15% better response and better information from AI systems if you are polite to them. So while Yeah. So
Wow.
while I do think you are insane for thanking my car, which is clearly not AI, it does behoove you to be polite to the AI chatbots when you are using them. So
All right. Well,
Counterpoint, counter argument. Since I had that major disagreement with Siri, since I had that
Dawson's
major
glitching out.
disagreement, since I had that major disagreement with Siri, that bitch disappeared from my phone, and I've never been happier.
Interesting.
Hey Siri.
Wow.
Gone.
So many
I can
of our
still talk
listeners
to
right
it.
now.
I can still talk to it by pushing a button. But I think that being mean to AI does have some payoffs
Well,
because
what you're saying is it then
He's
becomes
gone.
less efficient, which is just the point that Gary just made. Now
Well, it's
you
not
don't have
less
a feature
efficient.
that now you don't have a feature that you had before, so now
I
it's
can
less efficient.
I can
and-
push a button
Okay.
and
but you
talk
can't-
to the thing. Hey phone, what's up, dude? You know, it says you go first. See? Nice. So it's all still there.
Say you're welcome.
My
Thank you
phone's
for
just not
checking in.
listening to me
calling Siri a dude.
all
Very
the time.
progressive of you.
So
Anyway,
Yeah,
I'm
man.
glad I posted it. I
I'm
think
glad mine's gone.
some of the comments maybe misunderstood my caption. That's my fault for the lack of clarity. But you know, I love the AI gods.
No, Matt, you lead a misunderstood life.
Well, if you love the AI gods, and maybe you'll love this, which was submitted by John Gilgich, and it is this picture, which I have to imagine was created with AI.
That's not an actual photo of Chris pinching a Nashville hot chicken sandwich.
I love how Matt picture in the back is like that's the central casting of Matt Fondelier.
Yeah.
That's like Matt Fondelier if he had to be passable as like
Matt Fondelier.
Jesus. Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to read the shirt, and it just really fumbled that one. And
Yeah.
it looks like it says a rock park. I mean, come on, everyone. AI, come on. You know Matt loves Jurassic Park. What is that?
A rock park.
A rock park.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. I will say the AI did not do Chris's hair justice. He, I'm not sure what he looks like here, but
Gary, what's our YouTube handle if people want to see this?
That's crazy.
I don't fucking know. That's why I would never try to give
That's
it out.
disgusting. I hate this AI shit.
Fucking try to catch me on some
Go
shit,
to our
man.
Facebook group. It's
I've
in
never-
there.
Yeah, it's facebook.com/group/Boboiboy Army Worldwide LLC. That's where
There
the
you go.
picture is from.
That's
It's
all
not
you
on
gotta
our
say.
YouTube. And I would not. The reason I've never plugged the YouTube is I don't know that by heart. That's fucking insanity, Matt. How dare you? All right, so we got another comment in here. Let's see. A lot of these are picture based, so it's a little. Oh wow, this is nice. I was listening to Wriggles Picks last night, and I heard them talking about the family crest/coats of arms. Anyone else have a wild family coat of arms? The Kalali family, which is this is Richard Kalali. I should have said that at the top. The Kalali family crest has been a severed sword. Let me see if I can just share this image here as I read it. Let's see. It is okay. It's right there. This is so much harder. I really miss when Chris is not here. When Chris is here. Let's see. The comment goes on to say it is a severed. Let's see.
Looks like a severed barbarian head.
A severed head on a sword. Okay.
That's a
so,
Mongol.
That's a
A
Mongol.
Mongol.
That is very, very insensitive by 2025 standards. Mongol head that has been cut off and is now
Really,
impaled
it's
on
history.
a sword.
Mongol.
Yeah. So there you go. That's look, I honestly should pre-screen these because I just read it because he said he was listening to my other show, and boy, did that take a turn.
But there was nothing wrong with that.
It's a good thing no one can find our YouTube
I'm not saying there was
It's
anything wrong with
obviously
it,
a
Austin.
Genghis Khan type figure.
I wasn't suggesting there was anything wrong with it. I'm saying I saw the name of a show I work on. I started reading the comment, and I had no idea what his comment said. That's all I meant.
My Italian family has a crest, and it's on my family tree, but I'm seeing if I can find a picture of it. I don't think there's anything interesting in it
Is
at
it
all.
Castle Crest?
No, it wasn't Castle Crest. I'm going to go look at it. It's the Ania family. I'll be right back. Take 2 seconds.
I think we did ask somebody during the game of scones if
they
we
made
could
'em.
get a various coat of arms for the various houses that we were assigned. We should really finish that bit.
All right, we have another comment here from Colin CCJ, and it says, fun fact in regards to the urge to jump off of high places, super common feeling. It's even been studied and has a name. The call of the word, it applies to some people driving into oncoming traffic or off cliffs, or eating 9-month-old eggs. I get it at high places where jumping off would be easy, especially chairlifts. There's great stuff you should know. Episode on it named Call of the Void, Don't Pick Up. All right,
Yeah.
so there you go. Call of the Void, Don't Pick Up on.
It is funny
stuff
how
you should know.
I will sometimes, get that urge that we're talking about on high places or buildings or whatever, but a chairlift is fucking. I'm always so scared when I'm on a fucking ski lift and that thing is just gonna break down and fall. I do not have that urge whatsoever on a ski lift.
Yeah, it's the ski lifts are really confounding to me that there's not a lot more problems with ski lifts. I really
Have you seen that video of the one that's like speeding and going like way too fast and throwing everybody off at the bottom? It's
Yeah.
like, God, that's like your worst nightmare.
Yeah, it's almost as disturbing as that video, the one where the kid from The Sixth Sense starts saying shit about Nazis. That was I don't know if any of you guys saw that, but Hilly Joel Osment got arrested at his mammoth ski
Yeah.
lift, and he was saying
was
some
tough.
real out of pocket shit, and then had some cocaine on him. It's look, man. Apparently he blamed living with his sister because he lost his home in the wildfire. So I'm sympathetic to that, but went a little out
Gary, I sent you. I emailed you a picture of the Ania family crest.
Let's not.
It looks like
taint
there's two
Mammoth.
lions on it.
Mammoth is a wonderful town.
There's a good
It's
place to get
not-
pie down there.
It's not filled with drug addicts and lowlifes
Right.
who embarrass themselves. It's a beautiful mountainous place.
Is that your
I don't know
number
if you guys know if
4
I've been
on things that you missed from California?
Yeah, Mammoth is
that-
definitely
yeah.
number 4. Yeah, good call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
4. That's definitely not 2 above Friends.
So nothing special there. There's
Now that
an
looks
E
like
on
a
it.
crest. The other one
What is?
looked a little
That's
like
awesome.
a bit of a drawing. This one looks like the real deal.
So
I think the longer you look at it, the kind of more you can see within the image. There's a lot going on here. This is
Is
part
there?
of your family.
looks like a lot of duplicate stuff.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
this is
man.
my Italian family. That's my
I mean, I only
Yes.
see the lions as duplicates. I see this, the helmet at the top.
Yeah,
that's
the
kinda
helmet.
cool.
a lot of patchwork. Apparently we were patchers. We must have made carpets or something.
That's what they call them, patchers.
That's right. That's
Bro,
right.
moving into a new house. You know any good patchers?
Big sports team. Yep.
All right, we
We
have a
did
lot of other,
patchwork.
we have a lot of other comments, but I fear that they might step on future bits. So maybe we'll go ahead and move on from comments with that said. And Matt, what do you want to do next? I believe we may have a few other segments, but you tell me.
Sure. We have a This Is How You Remind Me if you'd like. We did spend the effort trying to get the song from Chris. We should probably play it.
This is how you remind me. This is how you remind me of the podcast we had.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So this is this segment where we kind of go back through our history and pull up moments that, remind us of things that we've said on the show. This is actually a very unique edition. It's actually a 2-part edition, beginning with a clip from last week's episode. I feel like we need to kind of set the scene here. You guys may remember this very controversial argument.
You're missing the point. I said 6 months. I was comfortable with 6 months.
do that.
Chris
That's the next
yelled
question.
9 months.
How long has it
as
been?
As soon as he said 9 months, I knew I'm not eating a fucking 9-month-old egg, but I went along with it. Okay.
Now, we did put it out to our detectives, our listeners out there, who could maybe go back and listen to the episode in question and determine, let's find this moment that, where Chris shouted out 9. Now, Andrew Richmond, one of our loyal
This is
Patreon-
exciting.
This is very exciting. One of our Patreon subscribers, he found that goddamn clip. Hold on. There we go. This is from a episode number 242.
Matt,
So we don't usually play Patreon clips here, but
I do have to say that you creating these videos with just black screens and then
that's a
sharing
story
them,
for another
I
day.
am fucking disappointed in you as a
Story
producer.
for
and we're gonna
another
have to have
day.
an off-air conversation about how you just play audio only over Zoom because there's no reason that anyone should be looking at
All
this
right.
giant black void.
Here we go.
Fucking monster.
Patreon.
Fucking everything will last forever if you freeze it. Eggs, at least 6 months, dudes. I will honestly say, dude, I think I've had 9-month eggs. And they were just fucking fine.
Okay. Now I'm gonna. Okay, I will put aside an egg for 9 months.
That's pretty good.
There we go.
That's pretty good.
Clearly,
gonna
Chris.
happen.
That was clearly Chris'
some-
voice, right?
That was some really good detective work. That was really good. I'm proud of you. Nice.
Anyway, thank you,
Yeah, I was like,
Andrew
I was a few
Richmond.
beers deep. I was a few
Yeah.
beers deep on that one.
That's hilarious.
Tell her that right away.
I will say, by the way, if you are not a Patreon subscriber and you do want to go back to the episodes called Dwight Yoakam, where this insane bet was made, Dawson is in his cups to the nth degree. I was just re-listening for that clip, and I was laughing so goddamn hard. It's absolute insanity. So
That's fun.
Patreon.com/watercooler. And again, Andrew Richmond, well found.
Yeah.
Chris still murdered the egg.
Yeah, it's still Chris's fault.
Damn it, Chris.
All right. So
Wow,
that
that
was
was
this is
good.
how you remind me. Outros are
great.
Patreon
Thank you.
only. But what
Thank
now,
you.
what do you want to go into next? Do we have another seggy we want to get to, or do we want to move on to plugs?
Let's move on to plugs. We got to save some stuff for our Patreon, baby.
All right, let's do it. So let's go around the horn. I will start in North Hollywood, California, with the insane person who claims Chris made that proclamation. What do you plug for you, sir?
I mean, pray for Chris, honestly, because he's going to have to answer for this in the afterlife. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Just say a prayer for Chris and for little Charlie as well.
Okay. In Long Beach, California, Kalen, what can we plug for you, sir?
Just Fooling About. That's me and my dad's podcast. We're putting out episodes every week. The one this week is a real behind the scenes on the Terminator. So if you like that movie, you might want to hear some of that stuff that hasn't been told before. And yeah, we're growing slowly but surely. So if you could subscribe to that on YouTube and Spotify, I'd be very happy.
Absolutely, but don't call me Shirley. Matt, what can we plug for you?
Well, I said it before, patreon.com/watercooler, $5 a month. You're basically giving each of us $1 a month to hear the second half of every show that you listen to. So we would love the support. It's a great way to support us. Thank you.
Yeah, you're giving us each $1 for approximately 4 hours of content. It's quite a deal. So we by the way have not raised our prices in reaction to the tariffs. So keep that in mind. All right.
And you get these episodes ad free.
Yes. You
Oh,
do. You
yeah,
get
the
these
ad-free
episodes
part.
ad-free.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ, that's a
there you
great
go.
benefit.
And
Good
then
call.
there are also tiers where you can join us for movie clubs. I think we have one coming up on The Dark Knight Rises. Is that correct?
No, just The Dark Knight.
Okay, The Dark Knight.
Yeah, dude, I'm in the middle of rewatching it right now, and it has definitely been like at least a decade since I've watched it. And I don't know if you guys know this, but
How
Dark
dare
Knight's
you.
a pretty great movie. It's pretty good.
A decade. Jesus, Matt.
It really
what
has
are you
been.
talking about?
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just haven't really seen it that often, and it's fucking great. I can't wait to talk about it with you guys.
I don't know what I'm more disappointed in, Kalen, that or the fact that he played audio clips with a giant black screen twice.
We could talk about that off
Podcast
air.
Professional, fucking monster.
No,
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
blaming. This is Chris's fault.
No.
This is
When he-
also Chris's
When he
fault.
threw it up, I went,
No,
"Oh, he's
no,
playing
no,
the
no.
video of us." Oh,
Under
he really
no
went for it.
circumstances is this Chris's fault. It is insanely knowable.
I don't know. There's
Like,
probably enough.
audio
This
only.
is
Probably
Zoom's
enough blame
fault.
to go
It's
around.
Zoom's
There's probably
fault.
enough blame to
No,
go around.
It is not Zoom's
I think
fault.
I pin some of this on Chris. I'll pin some of this on Chris.
No, I'm not putting
Yeah.
any of it on Chris. Chris has been maligned enough in this podcast. All right. And then for me, patreon.com/watercooler. Yeah, when I'm not insanely overworked, I'm usually pretty good about sending out the email for the end of show plugs on Patreon. We forego our own plugs like we're doing right now and read the plugs from you, the listener. And I didn't send that out this week. So it's going to be an interesting show on Patreon this week. And my apologies to everyone who did not get that email. That's insanely on me. And we will do double plugs next week. But patreon.com/watercooler. It is an insane deal and really is kind of the second half of the show. So you're missing out on a lot if you're not over there. So check us out. We love you. Thank you guys for the support. And sorry Chris couldn't make it. He will be back next week. I pray and I hope. And if he's not, I probably won't be either. So look forward to that. So thank you guys all for joining us. We love you. Goodbye.